Good morning. I hope you guys are doing good. I'm doing good. I want to chime in on this Ifunanya story, okay? I'm kind of in a similar situation as Ifunanya's dad, the father, in that I've lived in America for more than like for 27 years now. And I am planning to retire in South Africa. I'm building a home there. If you don't know, you can follow my journey of building my home back in South Africa, in rural South Africa, in a Xhosa village. Okay, um, in hopes that I will retire, and we kind of have similar issues like they have in Nigeria, in that we don't have adequate health care. And my remedy for that was that I was going to eat organic foods from my garden. That's my only plan. And walk a lot. But anyway, I wanted to chime in because for me, like the whole in the story, the whole as an HOLE, okay, is that the mother was not with the father. And I felt like Ifunanya basically glossed over that part of it because people did ask her in the comments, where's the mom? The mom is in America and the father retired back, unless they are not together. My husband and I had a discussion about that because right now we are building our home in South Africa, and I have to be in South Africa a few months a year to oversee the building because I can really trust, like people to do what I want. So I just build when I'm there, which is why it's taking me so long, or at least part of it. But I just can imagine myself, or my husband for that matter, retiring in another country when I'm in another country, unless we are no longer together, or we feel like, we're no longer together. Maybe we are together by marriage only, not necessarily together by love. And I just can imagine that. For me, that was the glaring story that they didn't cover there, because I'm like, okay, what about the mom? The mom should have been the one who's there for her husband, the same way the husband would have needed to be there if the mother was in that position. So to me, that was the first question that I had. All his children are here. The children I understand, because we cannot expect, as people who work, who bring our children to, to these countries, we raise them here. What's even worse, in my case, my children literally grew up here. My daughter was born in South Africa, but she came when she was young, and my son was born here. So my expectation cannot be, oh, I'm going to South Africa, therefore they need to come to me. But I expect my husband, who we came together here, okay, to go back with me. Unless the mom is not Nigerian, which again is possible. But even in that case, if the mother is not Nigerian, they should have decided where they want to retire as a couple. To me, that has been the thing that was lingering here. My husband doesn't want to retire in South Africa, which he already said he does. We made the decision together. I just can't imagine us living a world apart. And literally, the man was there for what? For years. Where was the mom all this time? That's my question, and that's where I think what we should press on. If she wants to, Ifunanya, to completely buy, everything that she's saying, okay, maybe I'm not questioning the fact that her father was abused and all of that, okay? But the mom issue needs to be clarified in my view. Then the uncle, when Ifunanya brought her dad from Nigeria, she took the dad to the hospital, took the dad to a nursing home. My question is, how did the uncle learn about that, where he is? How did he get authorized to get into the hospital room without anyone? Do you understand what I'm saying? So, again, another thing that didn't add up for me there was that the uncle knew everything and he was able to get into the hospital. That's kind of not how things work in America. You have to be authorized personnel, at least my understanding. I don't know, I could be wrong, you can correct me, but my expectation would have been especially if the nursing home um, was informed beforehand that if this uncle comes to the hospital, don't allow him. You see what I'm saying? Unless they asked the father and the father said okay. So those two questions for me were the two things that were outstanding in this whole debacle. How did the father stay in Nigeria for years without his family? How did the mom stay back in America all this time? And how did the uncle get access to him in the hospital? And I do know that there's a raging debate right now whether we should retire, you know, in America. Some of us, those who are in America, I'm assuming people who went to England have the same questions. But for us, remember, guys, especially for in my situation, we came to America. We had a 2-year plan to come and see how America worked. America was a beautiful country for us to live in, raise our children, safe place. At least it felt that way. So we decided to stay. 27 years later, we are here. Now, the question is, remember, you made a lot of sacrifices to be here. Yes, you were happy and you had a beautiful life here, but you missed everything about home. And our goal and our dream, a lot of us, is to one day go back home and live out our days, basically, okay? In hopes that our children will come and visit us the same way we visited our parents. I made an effort, in my case, to make sure that we visited home and visited our parents as often as we could afford, because it's a very big expense to go home, especially, when you have a large family. In our case, we had 2 kids that we needed to take home, and we needed to make sure here in America we had a life as well, like as normal life we could give our children, and we had a dog as well. That's how American we were. And so, like, those things, like having a dog, having a home, having cars and everything, they're costly. So going home is not easy, at least was not easy for a lot of people. But we made an effort to. But anyway, sorry, I wasn't done. But so I understand why people, when they retire, they want to go home. I mean, people do it within our countries. Like my mother, as I said, moved to Cape Town and went back to the village when she retired. We could have moved back to Cape Town. Where I do agree with you guys is that we gotta keep in mind that in these villages, some of us, we left, or at least the one I'm choosing to retire to, has no close hospital, And so a lot of people are saying that you should retire in the city. For me, I could never do that, because I want land. I want to be, like, free. I want to live in a, like, expansive space. I don't want to be constrained. I've lived in the city literally all my life. So I wanted that space and everything. So the countryside kind of afforded me that. But in South Africa, I believe even if I had moved in a farm in a predominantly white area, I would have had the same problems that, like that guy was facing, because I would have to go to like places like Cape Town to get better, like health care access, right? But for me, I also believe that you can be overall very healthy, even though I have not managed to do that all these years. But you can be very healthy if you eat, you know how to eat, you take care of yourself, and you don't have stress. Because my mother literally reversed her aging when she moved to the village, because she was so stressed in Cape Town. But when she retired and moved to the village, she kind of reversed her aging. And so for me, I felt like, okay, stress is the number one killer. Like in the world, literally, if you're stressed, it makes you sick, and it makes everything in your body, to flare up. So if I can manage my stress, like go for walks in my big yard, which I do have, or in my village where it's a little bit safer, and eat organic vegetables, that will go a long way in terms of just making me healthy. What happens if I get sick? I can always come back to America because I'm a US citizen, and, like, be taken care of. But my hope is that my husband will be by my side, the same way I'll be by his side. That if, somebody needs to make decisions for us, it'll be with our immediate family. And we can move, like from there. But yeah, I just wanted to comment in this. And I watched the whole 15-part series, by the way, and I watched closely. And yes, I felt a real pain for, like for the girl and what she had to go through. And I really admire her strength and her, dedication to her dad, making sure that her dad was safe and everything. And yes, there are family dynamics, because they probably thought the family was gone forever. It was never gonna come home, so they were gonna inherit the father's home and spend his money while he's still, like living. But when he dies, everything will go to them. So when this girl came back, she kind of interrupted all of that. And I think that's the reason why the aunts, to be honest with you, couldn't handle her. But anyway, I just want to say that people need to understand that when we do end up going home, is because we're looking for that peace, and to really live out our lives in a way that makes us feel like, okay, this is our final home. We have planted roots here. I mean, I could go on and on and on about that, but really that's what we're looking for, a sense of belonging and a sense of planting roots in our homeland where we come from. That matters to us in our spirit. And so it's just unfortunate that the family wasn't really together, and I think that's the biggest part of this story, that the family didn't remain united even across the world. You see what I'm saying? And that's where they should have fixed, in my view.